Welcome to our deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to be taking a sneak peek into this this book I got my hands on. It's called Supercharged.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's just a draft right now.
Okay.
But even the drafts are just like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's all about superfoods and supplements and
Mhm.
strategies for like really maximizing your potential.
It seems like these authors did their homework. I mean, just from glancing at the table of contents, it looks like they blend like cutting edge science
Right.
with this like really cool global perspective.
Exactly. That's what I thought. So like that whole superfood thing, it's more than just a marketing buzzword.
It's not like magic. It's really about
Yeah.
nutrient density.
Like how much good.
Stuff.
Yeah. Think of these foods like treasure chests, but
Yeah.
like overflowing with vitamins and minerals, antioxidants,
Mhm.
all the good stuff that's linked to good health.
Yeah, and one of the things I really liked was that the book takes like this global approach.
Mhm.
It's not just like, here's what we eat in America,
Yeah.
right?
It's like all these different cultures have their own superfoods.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really interesting.
It's about appreciating the diverse ways that cultures all around the world have like harnessed the power of nature to support their health and longevity.
Yeah. Okay, so they have this essential superfoods list.
Okay, right?
And I got to admit, I got a little excited when I saw things like coconut almonds and honey.
Yeah, those are good.
Like, talk about delicious anti-nutrition.
And one little detail that jumped out at me was how they emphasize uncooked coconut
Oh, really?
being the most beneficial. It really makes you think about how processing can affect the nutrient content
Good point.
of food.
Yeah. I was also really fascinated by the study they talked about with nuts and longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, like regular nut consumption was linked to a lower risk of death
Wow.
over like 30 years.
That's a long time. That's amazing.
I know. It's incredible.
And it makes sense, though, when you consider how many healthy fats and fiber and all those micronutrients are packed in there.
Yeah.
We were just talking about.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, Nakamani.
Okay.
So the book mentions this research,
Okay.
suggesting that it could actually help fight antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Who knew something so sweet could be so powerful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really highlights the incredible potential in nature and how important it is to look beyond conventional medicine.
Totally. Okay, so another thing that really surprised me was that whole eggs made the essential superfoods list.
Really?
I remember when they were like demonized
Oh, yeah, I know.
for their cholesterol.
For sure.
But this book is saying that whole eggs are nutritional powerhouses.
Yeah, they've been redeemed.
They're full of protein and vitamins, minerals, all the good stuff, especially for brain health,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, is a big focus of this book, like cognitive enhancement.
That's awesome, especially for people like me who love eggs.
Right. And speaking of, the book doesn't leave out people who are vegan or vegetarian.
Right.
They have a whole section on plant-based superfoods, too.
Yeah, like quinoa and lentils.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting was that they talk about how to balance nutrients on a plant-based diet.
Yeah. Because it's not as easy as just swapping out meat for tofu, right?
Exactly. You have to
Yeah.
pay attention to certain nutrients like omega-3s and B12.
Which is where supplements come in.
Yeah.
And that brings us to like the really supercharged part of this book.
Okay.
It dives into nootropics,
Oh, cool.
which are basically substances that can enhance cognitive function. It's like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah, it really captures the imagination. And they don't just like mention it in passing.
Right.
They give you specific examples like B vitamins, vitamin D3, even lithium orotate.
Lithium? Wait, isn't that for bipolar disorder?
You're thinking of lithium carbonate. Lithium orotate is different.
And although more research is needed, some studies suggest potential benefits for mood and memory. But this brings up a good point that the book emphasizes.
That's that.
Talking to your doctor or healthcare professional before you start taking any new supplements.
For sure.
Especially if you have any health conditions or you're currently taking any medications.
Definitely. Don't just like self-prescribe based on something you read in a book, right?
Exactly.
Now, some of these other supplements mentioned have me wanting to learn more,
Okay, like what?
like krill oil, berberine, magnesium.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm adding those to my list to talk to my doctor about.
Well, they all have their own unique properties and benefits. Krill oil with the omega-3s and berberine potentially impacting blood sugar and brain health. And magnesium, a lot of people call that the relaxation mineral.
Really?
Yeah. It's important for sleep and stress management.
Speaking of which, let's move on to the Supreme Diet Strategies section.
Okay.
One that caught my eye was intermittent fasting, specifically the 168 method.
Oh, yeah, that one's really popular right now.
I feel like everybody's talking about it these days.
They are?
Have you tried it?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. How'd it go? It's good. I like it. Um, what I found most fascinating about the book was that they talked about how global eating habits impact cognitive function.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
they talked about the Mediterranean diet and
Right.
its potential brain-boosting benefits.
Yeah, it's like your grandmother's cooking
I know.
could be the key to a sharper mind.
Exactly. And they
Grandma.
also touched on the Mind-Daytai diet. It was specifically designed to support brain health.
Oh, wow.
And it even mentioned personalized nutrition based on genetics, which is really cool.
Whoa.
Cutting-edge stuff.
Okay, so we talked about superfoods and supplements, but what really caught my eye was the chapter on secret exercise hacks.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
We were talking about ultra slow resistance training. Is that like what it sounds like? Moving really, really slowly,
Yeah, pretty much. The book says it's all about maximizing time under tension.
which can lead to some pretty interesting results.
So instead of just like powering through your reps at the gym,
Right.
you're like really slowing it way down. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and the book doesn't stop there. It emphasizes integrating cultural fitness practices as well for a more well-rounded approach.
So like instead of just hitting the gym,
Yeah,
we should be looking to other cultures for inspiration.
absolutely. I mean, think about yoga or Tai Chi or capoeira.
Right.
These traditions offer like a much more holistic approach
I love
that
it.
goes beyond just like lifting weights.
Okay, so I got to admit, I chuckled a little bit
What's that?
when I saw the section on strange stress relievers.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, green tea, okay, I get that, antioxidants, but black coffee,
Uh-huh.
isn't that like the opposite of relaxing?
Right. It does seem counterintuitive, but the book talks about black coffee's high antioxidant content as well,
Okay.
and it even mentions some studies linking it to a reduced risk of depression.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now I'm really curious about those studies. I'm always down for a good cup of coffee, especially if it
Mm.
comes with extra mood-boosting benefits.
It really goes to show that sometimes the best solutions aren't always the most obvious ones.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, another stress reliever the book talks about is cinnamon.
Really?
I know. I mean, I love it in my baking, but I had no idea it could be a stress buster.
Yeah. It sounds strange, but the research suggests that cinnamon can help protect your cells from damage that's caused by stress.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So that sprinkle of cinnamon I put on my oatmeal in the morning might actually be doing double duty.
Exactly. And speaking of surprising stress relievers, the book also dives into adaptogens.
Ooh, adaptogens. Okay, I've heard of those, but I'm a little fuzzy on what they actually are.
Well, think of them like your stress-busting sidekicks.
Okay.
They're basically natural substances that help your body deal with stress more effectively.
So they kind of adapt to what your body needs.
Exactly. And the book highlights a couple of key players like ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. Okay, that one rings a bell. Isn't that used in Ayurvedic medicine?
Yes. It's been used for centuries to help reduce stress and anxiety, and some studies show it can even lower your cortisol levels,
Oh, interesting.
which is your body's main stress hormone.
Right, cortisol, that's one that makes you feel like completely wired but tired at the same time.
Exactly. And while it's essential for survival, if you have chronically high cortisol levels, it can really do a number on your health and well-being.
Yeah, for sure.
And ashwagandha might be able to help bring those levels back down to a manageable place.
So it's like a natural chill pill. I could definitely use some of that. Now, what about rhodiola? What's its superpower?
Well, rhodiola is known more for its energy-boosting and fatigue-fighting properties.
Okay.
People use it to cope with mental and physical stress, especially if they're feeling burned out.
So it's like a natural energy drink, but without the jitters. I am adding that to my list to research.
And it doesn't stop there. They go on to talk about other adaptogens as well, like holy basil, which is used in Ayurvedic medicine, and Penax ginseng, which is a staple in traditional Chinese medicine.
It's amazing how we can tap into this ancient wisdom from all over the world
Right?
to find natural ways to manage stress.
Absolutely. And speaking of ancient wisdom, the book also mentions mindfulness and meditation as really powerful tools for reducing stress.
It seems like mindfulness is everywhere these days, and for good reason. But I am curious what the book has to say about it.
Well, they dive into specific techniques like transcendental meditation or TM.
DM? I've heard of it. Tell me more.
Yeah, so it involves using a mantra, which is a specific sound or word, and it helps to kind of quiet the mind and get you into a deep state of relaxation.
That's cool. I'm starting to see a theme here,
It fits that.
This idea of exploring this wide range of approaches, some of them ancient, some of them more modern, just to find what works for you.
Exactly. It's all about empowering yourself with knowledge and experimenting to see what really resonates with your mind and body. And before we move on from stress, I did want to touch on this one other concept they talk about,
Okay, what's that?
neuroplasticity.
Ooh, neuroplasticity. I've heard that word, but I got to be honest, I'm not totally sure I get it.
It's really interesting. It basically refers to your brain's ability to change and adapt throughout your entire life.
So you're saying our brains aren't fixed, we can actually rewire them.
Exactly. Think of it like a muscle that can be strengthened and trained.
Well, I like that.
Yeah. Every time you learn something new, whether it's a new skill, a new experience, you're literally creating new pathways in your brain.
So you're saying even as adults, it's not too late, we can still reshape our brains.
Absolutely. And the book really emphasizes how empowering that is.
Yeah.
It means we're not stuck with the brains we were born with or even the brains we had 10 years ago.
Right.
We can actively shape them and unlock our potential.
That's pretty amazing. And it seems like this book is all about giving you the tools to do that.
Yeah.
It's not just about like passively reading information. It's about taking action.
Exactly. And that goes back to one of the other key themes that runs throughout the book, cultivating a growth mindset.
Growth mindset. Oh yeah, I've heard that term before. So it's basically about believing in your ability to learn and grow.
Exactly. It's about embracing challenges, seeing setbacks as opportunities to learn, and
Yeah.
believing that your abilities aren't set in stone. They can be developed.
Yeah, it's not about being perfect. It's about embracing the journey.
Yes. And what I found really interesting was that they didn't just talk about it in a vacuum.
What do you mean?
They explored how the concept of growth mindset appears in different cultures around the world.
Oh, so it's not just a Western thing.
Not at all. They talked about this Japanese concept called kaizen, which is all about continuous improvement,
Oh, cool.
and the Finnish concept of sisu, which is basically this idea of grit and determination in the face of adversity.
It's amazing how different cultures have these philosophies for growth and resilience that have been around for centuries.
I know, and I think we could all learn so much
For sure.
from these different perspectives. They really encourage us to look beyond our own cultural bubbles and be open to wisdom that's out there.
Yeah, this is making me realize how interconnected we all are.
Yeah.
Even though we all come from different backgrounds, speak different languages, at the end of the day, we're all human. We all face challenges. We all have to overcome adversity. We're all striving for something better, right?
That's beautifully said. And it seems like this book, Supercharged, is tapping into that universal human experience.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about superfoods and supplements, exercise hacks, stress relievers, the power of mindset. What else does this book talk about?
Well, it looks like it doesn't just want to throw information at you. It wants to help you actually make lasting changes.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Because it's one thing to know what to do, but it's another thing entirely to actually do it.
Absolutely. And that's where I think this book really shines, because it dives into strategies for building new habits, creating sustainable routines, even overcoming common obstacles.
So it's not just telling you what to do, but how to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
It's like you said, right? It's not about quick fixes. It's about sustainable, holistic change.
Yeah, it's more like cultivating a deep understanding instead of just cramming for a test.
Exactly. And speaking of different perspectives, I'm curious to hear more about how the book brings in those different cultural viewpoints that we talked about earlier.
Well, one concept that really stood out to me was this Japanese idea of ikigai.
Ikigai. Okay.
Yeah, it means reason for being. And the book talks about how finding your purpose, your passion in life, can really fuel you on this journey to a more vibrant life.
It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Right, exactly.
Except here, it's more than just work, right?
Exactly. It's about finding your purpose in all areas.
Okay, so it's like a more holistic approach to Ikigai?
Yes. And the book also looks at ancient systems like traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda,
Right.
which have been around for centuries.
Right.
And they offer a more holistic understanding of health and well-being.
It's almost like these ancient practices were the original life hacks,
Totally.
time-tested strategies for feeling better and living longer.
It makes you realize that this isn't new.
Right.
People have always been trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to be healthy and happy and live a long time.
Of course.
Yeah.
It can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes, though.
I agree.
Like, there's so much information out there.
Yeah.
Where do you even start?
You're right. It can be information overload, but that's what I think makes this book so great.
What do you mean?
It doesn't just like tell you a bunch of stuff. It helps
Yeah,
you navigate all the information and personalize it.
that's so key.
Yeah,
Because what works for one person might not work for another, right?
exactly. And I think the authors of this book get that. They make the information easy to understand, no matter where you're starting from.
Well, this has been amazing.
I know, right?
Even though it's just drafts and notes, my mind is blown.
Me too. It really sparks your curiosity.
It does. It makes you realize that you have the power to improve your life.
Totally.
And if this is just a sneak peek at the final book, I can't wait to see what else they have in store.
Me neither. It's an exciting time to be interested in human potential.
It really is. And for all of you listening, if you want to learn more about this stuff, we encourage you to check it out.
Yes,
Explore these ideas, listen to your body and your mind.
absolutely. There are no shortcuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself and never stop learning and growing.
Well said.
This was fun. Thanks for diving in with me.
Of course. This was